Welcome to Paradigm Shift TV 314, where I, the host of Trust and Believe the Gospel, will be taking over the show today. And of course, as always, I got my co-host, Mr. Co-host, to you, Jerome the Conscious Christian Green. And today, we have a special show for you all. We're bringing on a very powerful sister. And before she introduces herself, let me give y'all a little rundown on her background. She is a doctrinal student where she studies PhD theology at Trinity Theological Seminary. She also studies early childhood development at Hines Community College. She's an actress at That's a Rap TV and Film Acting Studio. She's also a model at Barefoot Models and Talent. She's a poet, a scriber, a teacher, and overall a woman of God. How you doing, sister?
Yes, I'm doing fine, brother.
Man, it's nice to have you on the show today, sis. It's been a long time coming, and now that we got you on the show, we're not going to waste too much time. We're going to get into it. For the listening audience, I know you all have seen the several videos that we've put out about Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Black Lives Matter, the Democratic Party, and all that stuff. You've only been getting it from a male's perspective, so now we have a female, so you can get it from a female perspective, and we're just going to get into this. We all know that the elections is coming up pretty soon, and a lot of people, it seems as if they're confused or they don't even know what's going on with both of not only the candidates, but don't even know what's going on with both of the parties. So we're going to start off talking about Black Lives Matter. Matter of fact, let's change that. Let's start off talking about abortions. Sister, me and my brother have already gave our spiel on how we feel about abortions. I want to know, let the listening audience know how you feel about abortions.
Okay, so according to my thesis that I did at the seminary, I talked on should the church get involved in social issues and causes, and yes, abortions was one of them. I did a methodology, a data on church participant among should the church oppose abortion or should they support it. Majority of the church, they put a limitation on it. Majority of the church, some believers say no, it's killing, it's wrong, it's evil. God do not support it. If Christ were here, he wouldn't condone it. And some believers like, well, when it comes to rape, the woman has the choice over her own body, whether she want to keep the child or not. Because if you look at the child behavior in the future, the child gonna want to know like who is the father. The parents not be able to explain who the child father is. But
Right.
at the same time, in my thesis, I'm totally against abortion, whether if the mother been raped or not. I believe in pro-life. The Bible is pro-life. I'm not a pro-choice person. The Bible doesn't speak to be pro-choice. But if it do come down to a female being raped or someone in that position, I prefer adoption. Adoption will always be a second choice. Adoption always be a plan B. Yes, it's a disadvantage and it's advantage, but at the same time, we want to bring life. Because the scriptures tell us that only God can give life and only God can take life away. And I just don't believe in destroying innocent children. Like I put in my reading that the scripture in Proverbs tell us we got to be a voice for those who cannot speak for themselves. So
Right.
the children can't speak for themselves. The children, they innocent, they newborn, they have no idea what's going on. So we got to be their voice. We got to be the voice for the silence, cause they crying out, at the same time. So this what that verse in Proverbs saying: be the voice for those who is deaf and can't speak, the ones that are silenced and can't hear. So yeah, that's my pull on abortion.
And it's funny you say that when you brought up the rape issue because I know some rape victims who had got pregnant, and if you go off of statistics, it is said that majority of the women who get raped and get pregnant, they end up keeping the baby. So when we look at this Democratic Party and they try to say that um, people should be allowed to have abortions, to me, seeing that women who get raped the majority of them end up keeping their baby. It seems to me like the Democratic Party just want to kill babies overall. It has nothing to do with rape, in my opinion. Would you agree with that? Jerome?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I would agree because if you look at the percentage of causes for abortion, rape is at a single digit percentage.
Yep.
Most of the people that come, or most of the women that come in and get abortions or want abortions do it just because they can. It really has nothing to do with rape. Like rape is a minuscule reason as far as the percentage shows for women wanting to get abortions. You know what I'm saying? And just to kind of piggyback off of what Monique said, when you think about the history of Christianity, Christians have been opposing abortion for over 2,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
They started with them, rejecting the practices of the Romans and their practice of abortion, and it's trickling down all the way to right now, where you have people and organizations trying to justify abortions.
And that's sad. That's very sad. And Monique, her being a Black woman, the statistics show that the majority of people who get abortions are Black women. So for the listening audience, I know y'all heard us three men give our spiel, but now you're hearing it from not only a woman, but a Black woman who's saying that she disagreed with them overall as well. So it's really no getting around it. And I agree with both of you all. To me, it's murder. I don't care what shape or form. I mean, I'm the only way that I'm for abortion is in those minor situations where if a woman has the child, it could also kill her. And outside of that, I don't feel like it should be a reason for anybody to get any kind of abortions. Sister Monique, I'm not sure if you
Yes.
are aware of this. About 2 days ago, Joe Biden had did an interview, and they asked him, how do he feel about kids being able to pick their gender? And
Yeah.
he said that he feels as if a child should be able to pick their own gender as early as they choose to. So if you can, go in on that.
Well, again, this the subject that I did attack on my thesis when it comes to a child choosing to be who they are. But at the same time, my take is this: when we give child permission to choose what gender they want to be, it's like society. Society is telling this child that you could choose who you want to be and still be happy. We know that's not biblical. We know God do not support that. God don't condone it. According to scriptures, it's a lawless behavior. It's transgression of sin, because at the same time, the parents have the right to determine this child gender at the same time. But I know for sure when I was a preschool teacher, this girl, she was born with two parts. She was born with both parts. And we asked the parents, like, which when you get her surgery, which one you gonna choose? And she was like, well, I'm gonna let the child choose herself, and whatever she determined that she want to be when she grow older, we fine with that. But for right now, she's a girl. But at the same time, I'm totally against that. It's not Bible. Like I said, it's anybody that's led by the Holy Spirit would not support this type of behavior, because for one, it's evil, it's wicked. This for one reason why God uh sharply destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. We don't tell children that you could be who you are and still be happy. At the same time, this child's not happy because this child is hating who they are. A female is hating to be a female, so she wanted to be a dude. The dude is hating to be who he is, so he wanted to be a female. And children should not have that type of option, because for once, their mindset's not matured. They have been biblically equipped in the Word of God. They doesn't have a guidance, a mentor, or a leader to say, "Hey, this is not right. This is not a way to go." And so, we got all these advertising on television shows with people telling the children you could be who you are and still be happy. You could be who you are and still get accepted into society. So it's a lot of chaos. Like I said, whatever the Democrat Party is pushing, I'm totally against it. It's one of the reasons that America's gonna fail. She's gonna be destroyed, and I just can't push it and support it.
Right. And I totally agree with you on that. Of course, we all know children, and we know, like I said in the last video, I have a 10-year-old son. He can't even make up his mind on what he want to eat. One second he want hamburger. If I pull out some pizza, and then he gonna want pizza. So if they can't even make those type of decisions on food from 1 minute to the next, I feel as if it's totally out of line to let a child pick what their gender is. Now, we already know there are rare cases where there are people who are born with two private parts, and that's a rare case. And in a lot of those cases, even though a person is born with two private parts, sometimes they can't get pregnant. So if they can't get pregnant, then they are a boy. If they can't get pregnant, then they are a girl. For the listening audience who I know that's a part of this channel, some of y'all do not believe in the Bible. So even if we were to just leave the Bible out of it and just look at nature, homosexuality, transgender, people being able to pick their own identity, that also goes against nature. And if we was to put it back on the Bible, we know that a man and a woman having sex was put here for us to procreate. What can a woman and another woman do with each other? Outside of the pleasures that you have from having sex, they cannot produce. A man with another man, he cannot produce. So this is why the Bible makes it clear that a man leaves his mother and father and he's clinged on to his wife, and the two shall become one. You can't become one if you're a female with another female. You can't become one if you're a man with another man. Even though society try to makes it seems as if you pick whatever it is you want to be, you would be more happy. Well, I have a lot of LGBT friends, and honestly, they go through the same things as straight people. If I know girls who have girlfriends, still get cheated on. I know dudes who have boyfriends, they still get cheated on. So it's like thinking that you're gonna be happy because you get to pick the person that you want to sleep with is really a false happiness. Because there's really nothing on this earth that could actually give you satisfaction or gratification, especially when it comes to sexual pleasures. We all know that those things are misleading. How you feel about that, Jerome?
Well, first off, I want to say that I agree with both of y'all. Y'all made some very good points. Um, of course, I don't agree with it, and my reasons are because number one, um, I feel like society is trying to make gender a spectrum, by even telling a child that they can choose what gender they want to be. And like you said, like a child's mind is fickle. Like a child can walk up to you and tell you that they're a Power Ranger, they're a dinosaur, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how fickle their minds are. Like their minds, like Monique said, like their minds are not mature enough to make a decision of that magnitude when it comes to gender identity. And if you think about it from a psychological standpoint, I took a class a couple of years back. I think it was in 2016. I took a psychology class, and one of the things we went over was this whole concept of gender identity and things of that nature. So, um, I think one of the very first instances, I forget the year, but one of the very first instances of parents allowing their child to choose their gender occurred with a little boy. I think the little boy may have been 7 or 8 years old, and he was telling his parents that he's a girl, wanted to wear dresses and all that type of stuff. So they actually went about changing his gender, through pretty much mutilating his sexual organs. But from a psychological standpoint, that was the wrong thing to do. From a natural standpoint too, but from a psychological standpoint, that was the wrong thing for them to do, because as the child grew up and the child hit puberty, the child began to become very confused about their identity, because biologically this child is a male, but due to his parents' decision, they tried to make him into a female. So when he hit puberty, he got so confused, and you know, that confusion led to depression, and he ended up killing himself.
That's messed, man. See, that's messed up. See, like, man, if for the listening audience who out here listening, like this stuff is very important. I don't care if you believe in the Bible or not. When it comes to who we're voting for in November, we're not telling you who to vote for, but we are putting out information on the Democratic side, because when we watch mainstream media, all we
That's
see is
right.
them a- all we see is them saying racist, 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 but they're not telling you what policies they're pushing. And I'm pretty sure that me, my sister, and my brother that's on this platform right now, a lot of people think that we support the people that we support because we are in it for the face of the party. Me specifically, I'm not going to say that I like or dislike Donald Trump. I'm not voting for him. I'm voting for the policies that the Republican Party stands on, and the policies that the Democratic Party stand on. So, sis, I want to ask you, when it comes to the Democratic Party and the way that they're trying to make it seem as if the elections are about racism rather than the policies that are being pushed, I want to know, how do you feel about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris trying to turn this into a race thing rather than a policy issue?
Well, my take on it is that, like I said, I've been reading the studies on Candace Owens, and the way she put is that blacks need Democrats. You see what I'm saying? It's like when you look at the Democrats, you're looking at everything that black people pushes. You're looking at black supremacy, Black Lives Matter, black organization, black nationalists. It's like over 250 black supremacy group that's for a Democrat. And they are one reason that the Democrats pushing their policy. Because like I said, I know Black Lives Matter. Some of them support the same thing that the Democrat Party are pushing. Black national. At the same time, they want to make it look like, oh, it's a hate thing, it's a race issue, it's a black and white thing. If you don't vote Democrat, you are not black. For as
Huh.
I saw, for as I know, black has always voted Democrat for the simple reason we wasn't taught how to vote, but we was taught who to vote for
Right,
based on racial issues.
right.
And like I said, it's Democrat, the amendment 13, 14, and 15. Again, it's a racial issue, black and white. So with that being said, this type of behavior, it brings up a wall of separation. You
Right.
know, it brings up a wall of separation. If you look at it, some people say, well, a black person cannot be racist. At the same time, this what Black Lives Matter teach. This is
Still,
what black nationalists teach. This is what black supremacy teach. Like, how can a black person be racist? You see what I'm saying? Racist, those that come with a color or agenda. You see what I'm
right.
saying? So on both sides, each party could have a racist thing, a racial issue going on.
No, and I agree, and I've heard that a lot, and I hate that saying. They say that black people can't be racist. Now, me being a Bible believer, racism is a sin. So when somebody say a black person can't be racist, what you're overall telling me is that there are sins that certain people can't commit based off their skin color that other people can't commit, and that's stupid. Like it's evil in people, period. It don't evil doesn't come from what your skin color is. Evil comes from your thought process. It comes from who you are. It comes from your character. So for somebody to say, based off of the definition of a racist and racism, if they can say that a person can be a certain way because of their skin color, I feel like that's flawed all day long, man. So yeah, sis, I agree with you on that 100%. Jerome Green, what's your spiel on that, bro?
Man, I agree. Like I agree with what y'all been saying. Like um they're trying to make the narrative about race and racism, and that's garnering a lot of fear, among black people, and it's garnering a lot of hate among black people towards other black people who don't vote Democrat. But see, the thing about it is when you're led by your emotions, not by the fact, you tend to be in error because
True.
the Democratic Party is pushing a lot of uh, liberalist ideas, concepts, and agendas, and black people who are under the thought pattern that the Democrats are for black people. Um, they don't even know that a lot of the policies that the Democrats are trying to push are counterproductive to any progression that can come within the black community.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And just like we brought up abortion is counterproductive to any progression in the black community.
Right.
Uh, gender, gender identity, trying to eradicate gender identity or make it a spectrum is counterproductive to the black community. You know what I'm saying? So for me, um, when you bring up the whole thing about black people can't be racist and this and that, of course I don't agree with that because racism, they like to say, oh, racism is an institution. Well, before racism is could be an institution, it has to be a mentality first, right?
Right. Mindset. Yep.
So with that being said, what you've seen or like what we've seen over the uh past decades, I'll say, because I can't give an exact number of years, but you see a lot of reactionary race groups, so-called leaders, etc., that came out of the black community.
Right.
And when it comes to the Black Lives Matter organization, they have reactionary racism um, in within the fabric of their organization. And if I could share my screen, can I share my screen on here?
Let me make sure it's on real quick. Let me see. Meeting settings. Go ahead, bro. You should be able to share it now.
Okay, I'm about to share what I mean by reactionary racism and some of the ideas that come from this concept.
Okay. Yeah. While he doing that, I just want to say both of y'all are making good points. When it comes to what's going on right now with this political fight, it seems as if all the Democratic Party have to do is throw out the word racist, and people just look the other way. Go ahead, Jerome.
Okay, so as you can see, um, a co-founder in one of the Black Lives Matter chapters said that white people are a genetic defect of blackness.
Mm-hmm.
Whiteness is not humanness. In fact, white skin is subhuman.
Mm-hmm.
She also added that white people are recessive genetic defects. This is factual. White people need white supremacy as a mechanism to protect their survival as a people because all they can do is produce themselves. She continued. Black people simply through their dominant genes can literally wipe out the white race if we had the power to. Now, before I show the rest of what she said, um, where does it sound like she got those ideas and concepts from?
Evolution. Richard Dawkins. They try to say
Deep
that.
throat.
They try to say that black people come from apes, so that we are less smarter, and white people come from us, so they are more advanced. So with the stuff that you just read, it seems like she's feeding into the evolution side of the argument.
And not only that, she's repeating teachings that I know came from the Nation of Islam,
Okay.
because they teach that.
What you were saying, sister Monique? Go ahead.
I said I want to interject the fact that she's making, like I said, God created everyone equal. We know according to Dr. Martin Luther King's speech, everyone created equal. But she's making like the black race superior and the white race inferior. So, like you said, this coming from the National Islam teaching and so on.
Go ahead, Jerome.
Right. Right. And this is what I mean by reactionary racism. They want to push false science, or what I would coin voodoo science, to make it seem like it's a scientific fact that black people are genetically superior to white people, because supposedly black people have this deep concentration of melanin and white people don't have any. But the fact of the matter is, white people do have melanin.
True.
Everybody on the planet has melanin. I think the only people who may have the least amount or no melanin are people who are albino, and that's rooted in a defect in the pigmentation. It's not anything that's natural. So it's just people are. It seems like she's trying to push back against white supremacy by creating a black supremacist narrative. You know what I'm saying? So
I often say, before you move on to your next slide, I want to say this. Based off of what she said in this article, she feels like black people are stronger and more powerful. Wouldn't this lead, if this notion is true, wouldn't this help the police shoot black people? Because they say, well, hey, we're more powerful than y'all, we're more stronger than y'all. But then when this white cop run up on this black dude, if he has the same mindset that this woman is talking about in this article, if he feels like he's not more powerful than the black man, if he feel like he can't take this black man down, wouldn't that be an excuse for why they pull their gun and shoot black people? So this type of notion that she's presenting in this article really isn't helping us as black people. It's really taken away from us, because, like I said, if white people believe this, what she is saying, if this is believable, then they would have an excuse to react the way that they react. Wouldn't you agree?
Right. I wouldn't say that would be a valid or warranted excuse to gun down a black person. But
Right.
it's just, if two people are on opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to this idea of racial superiority, things like that more than likely would happen. And I think that's why they do happen. Like, white racists have it in their head that they need to preserve their own race at all costs. They created so many concepts and ideas. I think even the one drop rule, which some black people present as this notion that black people are superior, was created by white racists to keep a binary between black and white people. They didn't want black and white people mixing. You know what I'm saying? So, and just because, you can't counter evil with evil. You know what I'm saying? You can't like fight fire with fire, and that's what this is. You know what I'm saying? And the notion that she not the notion, but one of the statements that she made is that white people need white supremacy as a mechanism to protect their survival as a people, because all they can do is produce themselves. Now, when you think about interracial relationships between white and black people, well, let me address this. There's no scientific evidence that I know of that asserts that um two white people can produce a black baby and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to interracial relationships, a white person and a black person can come together, uh, you know, and reproduce twins where one is actually black and one is white.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And even if the child is mixed, that doesn't, that doesn't help the case of black supremacists or white supremacists because the child is going to express uh, genetic genetic markers of both the black and the white parent.
And I like what the sister said a while ago about Dr. Martin Luther King, about all of us being created equal. Now, it's funny how we go to the 50s and the 60s, and back then they were just fighting for equality. Now that we are in the 2000s and 2020, like the sister said, it seems like people are fighting for black supremacy. Now, I'm not fighting for black supremacy. I don't feel like I'm better than nobody. I want equality. If you was to look at me or another person who didn't have my skin color, I feel as if we both should be looked at the same. So, Monique, and bringing that up about Dr. King and black supremacy and white supremacy, could you go in a little bit more on that?
Yes, I just want to I want to just say this. Most of black supremacy, their rules, their bylaws, their teaching basically come from European teaching. It's just a reciprocation of it being taught through a black mindset. Because when you look at black supremacy, at the end of the day, most black people gonna be like, well, they are sellouts because they say one thing in their teaching, they say one thing in their rules and regulations, but at the end of the day, they're contradicting themselves because their teaching and their laws, their regulations, their rules, their mottos, what they protesting for, it's all traces back to a religion thing. Like I said, people try so much to not involve religion with politics, but how can you miss it? Everything is a foundation. So when you got black supremacy going on, then you got white supremacy going on, it's gonna always trace back to black supremacy for some type of way. They're gonna pick up westernized teaching, westernized concept, westernized like I said, reading books. When you look at Black Lives Matter, most of their books are coming from Greek mythology. Most of their books and teachers come from white European Greeks. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, that's powerful. Go ahead, Jerome.
Yeah, that was very insightful into where these black supremacist ideas originally come from. But back to what Kogali stated. She stated that white people have a higher concentration of enzyme inhibitors, which suppresses melanin production. She also added that melanin is important for a number of things, such as strong bones, intelligence, vision, and hearing. Now, if I can address that right quick, while I was in the conscious community, I read this book by Dr. Naeem Akbar. It's called Papers in African Psychology. And he expressed this notion that melanin is important for intelligence and things like that. So he was also expressing this superiority complex for people who have a deeper concentration of melanin as opposed to people who may not have such a deep concentration. But of course, we know that this is not true. Like intelligence can't be reduced to somebody's skin tone, skin color, or anything of the sort.
Right.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
know a lot of stupid black people.
Right, and vice versa. So it ain't you can't the melanin really doesn't have any effect on the brain, period.
Right, at all.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't
Yeah.
have effect on vision or hearing. Like I don't where like I think a lot of these ideas come from like the early 1990s where you had a lot of Afrocentric teachers like Dr. Francis B. Wells, who else? Malefe Kete Asante, who were pushing these teachings about melanin and the properties that melanin supposedly hold, and you know what I'm saying, just pushing a false sense of grandiosity for Black people because we have a deeper concentration of melanin, and I haven't seen where it has any scientific backing at all.
And it can't, because like me, I'm a Black man, 6'5", Black as they come. I have bad vision. My vision is probably worse than anybody who's not blind. You know, I have a blind uncle. I have blind cousins. So if melanin, as she said in her article, gives you good vision, that's a flat out lie. Like I said, we have blind Black people. My vision is shot to death. So of course, none of that can be true. You know what I'm saying? And like both of you said, it's like they're repeating the pro-Black people who claim to be pro-Black. They're repeating European concepts or white supremacy concepts while at the same time claiming to be pro-Black. And I want to make this known for the listening audience, since we are doing a cross-platform production on a channel that's pro-Black. All three of us are pro-Black. We are pro-Black as they come, but we are pro-truth over everything. You know, truth comes over all. You know, so for anybody who's listening and based off the things that we are breaking down, don't take what we're saying as in, oh, y'all are coons, or y'all are Uncle Toms, y'all are feeding in, or y'all giving big ups to the white people. No, I don't care if you Black, white, Chinese, Mexican, whatever. If you lying, man. And for all the Black people out there who are watching this mainstream media and listening to the radio and all this stuff, and they are telling you what you want to hear. You know, the Bible tells us that in the end times, people will have itchy ears. They will turn themselves to teachers who they want to hear. You know, they will not follow sound doctrine. Now, of course, that's talking about the Bible, but we could also apply that to what's going on in the world today as well, seeing that we see a lot of people repeating what mainstream media is saying about race and racism rather than actually looking into this stuff themselves. Sister Monique, I want to give you an opportunity. If there's anything else that you want to bring up in this conversation, go ahead and we'll follow you and segue into the next subject.
Okay. Well, I do want to talk about me being a student, of course, taking up the subject of sociology. And see, sociology, you know, they places race in the gender in categories. You see what I'm saying? They put you in social classes, and that has a lot to do with what we're talking about now. You know, they got social classes grade group A, then they got social classes group B, and then what they does is they take your ethnicity and put it in social classes. So for instance, they might say, okay, you got higher white class, then you got lower middle class, and then you got white lower class. And then again, for the simple facts based on sociology data, they most likely say that the rich Black people was more likely to be a white person. You see what I'm saying? So even sociology give you a biased stereotype. So
Right.
people also base their views off what sociology teaches. Even with religion, if you a Baptist member, you a lower Baptist, you a lower Black lower class. If you got a good job, of course, you got good education, you might be labeled as a middle black class person. So even with sociology, everything become a race and a gender, even between man and woman, and like you say, same sex persons.
And that's crazy that they do that, you know, to they sit here, draw lines on a piece of paper, and they take you for what they think you are, and they put you in a category. You know, that's just like a bag of M&Ms. Let me put the red with the red, green with the green, black with the black. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, how can we get anywhere, not just as Black people, but as a society, when we have people that are in those type of mindsets and they're not doing anything constructive for the human race. Rather, they're tearing down the human race, like Sister said, to try to get to try to play one side against another side. And like the song says, it's bigger than black and white. It's a problem with the whole way of life, you know, and some people don't really understand that. Jerome Green, based off of what she said, bro, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, like, when it comes down to it, we know who created the concept of race, but that doesn't mean that we as black people have to become reactionary racists and create these concepts or rehash concepts already created to present a narrative that cast us in the light of superiority, because it's not it's first of all, it's not worth the effort, it's not worth the time. It gives a lot of people false ideas, you know, and it's just I literally hate it. Like I hate anybody who says that their race is superior, whether it's black or white, Chinese, you know, whatever.
Right.
So you know, I just and I would suggest that, and yeah, one other thing I wanted to bring up, like, if somebody's gonna call one of us, you know, a coon or a sellout, like I suggest that they, you know, they do their due diligence, because I'm not saying that I'm some sort of gladiator when it comes to standing up against racism and things like that. But I've been a part of several protests uh, that addressed racism, police brutality, but not only that, it, you know, some of these protests addressed what's going on in the black community among black people. And you know, if you're not concerned with the way that we treat each other, uh, the way that we demonize and dehumanize each other, whether it be through music, everyday speech, and you know, things of that nature, then who's really like the coon? Like, if you really pushing these counterproductive uh instruments, I like to say, you know, through music, through media, through how you view your brother or sister in the black community, the words you use towards your brother and sister in the black community, just on an everyday basis, then you're really the coon. You really are pushing white supremacy through these mechanisms.
That's a good point that you bring up, man, because like you said, for somebody to call us a sellout for simply telling the truth and really want equality, while at the same time we're looking at our communities and our neighborhoods and we see more violence. We see women with multiple baby daddies. We see men with multiple baby mamas. And for us to just overlook all of those things and to just focus on somebody because of their skin color, like you said, those are the ones who are the sellout, because as the saying goes, you take her home first, then you spread abroad. So if the black community is our home, we should be, not that we shouldn't focus on racism at all, but we should be more focused on the things that are right outside of our doorstep rather than things that, honestly, some of that stuff don't even affect us, man. You know, I'm not here to say that racism don't exist, but in my 35 years of living on this earth, I've never been in a situation where racism affected me. I've always got the job I've wanted. I've started 2 businesses, didn't have no problem. Um, I've, I'm a private security guard right now. I work with police officers. You know, outside of all that, the one time that I had a bad experience with a police officer, it was a black cop, and I had got pulled over for so-called speeding in the school zone, in which I wasn't. He was pulling over everybody who was coming down the street. So I got out of my car and I started to record what the officer was doing because he was doing wrong. He saw me recording him. He told me to come here. I went over there. He took my phone. He twisted my arm behind my back and he pushed me on the trunk of the car. Now, this was a black man. The black man called for backup. He called for backup. 4 white cops showed up. The white cops seen what was going on. They told the black man that I had did nothing wrong and to let me go. So if the police is as bad as people try to make them seem under a umbrella. If the white police are the way that they try to make it seem, then why is it that these 4 officers told this one black cop to let me go when he was gonna go do whatever he felt was right? To me. And me, I have no background. I've never been to prison, none of that stuff. I have no criminal record or none of that. I am what they considered a upstanding citizen. If I could put race in there, I'm an upstanding black man. You know, I've been with my wife for 19 years. We've been together since high school. We have 3 kids that make straight A's and all of that. So if I get shot down dead in the streets, you know, you should protest for somebody who's an upstanding citizen without a background or anything. But a lot of these people who we see this stuff happening to, like me and Jerome was talking about the other day, some of this stuff is being provoked, you know, and some of these people are not who the media try to make them be, you know. And I'm saying all that to say, when you look at brothers and sisters such as ourselves and other brothers and sisters who are out here in America, a lot of us just want equality, man. We don't want to put the white people over the black people. We don't want to put the black people over the white people. We just want a line straight down the middle. And when it comes to what's going on in this political race right now, it seems as if, of course, we know they're pandering for the black vote, but we know that these people have, the Democrats, they have no intentions of actually giving you people black supremacy, if that's what you're looking for. And as for us, we're looking for equality, man. So, Sister Monique, if you can come back on and take us into the next segue, the floor is yours.
Okay, we like going back to another topic.
It's on you. Wherever you want to steer the conversation.
Okay, well, I do want to push the fact that mass incarceration is a big issue. And it have been, like I said, a while ago, like ever since the 90s, the 1950s, the 1960s, blacks going to jail for, defending themselves, defending their rights, defending their freedom. Like I said, you had black organization then, you had black supremacy then, but it wasn't the same as black supremacy today. I know for sure that majority of the black supremacy then wasn't really based on what they're doing today, because in during the 50s and the 60s gap, black supremacy, they are the ones that came together with church. They put religion to the side and they came together with the churches, and like they say, they built Wall Street. So
Right.
it's like they built Wall Street. They had their own black grocery store, own black churches.
Banks.
This something that black supremacy did. They didn't teach us to hate the white person. They only taught us to defend ourselves, to defend our position, to defend our voting rights, to defend our children, to go to school, get a college education, get black scholarships. This what the things they did.
True. No, and that's a fact, because when you look at places like Black Wall Street and the black people who stayed in their community and build up their own community, when you look at some of the documents from what they said, they were actually going through it with white people. And at that time, they weren't even worrying about white people. They wasn't saying, hey, we hate this white person, we hate all this. They just got their stuff together and they went and did what they wanted to do. They wasn't worrying about if the white person was going to give them a handout, or if the white person was going to do, cause harm to them in a certain way to stop them from doing what they're doing. They just got up and did it. And now today in 2020, a lot of people don't even understand we live in the best country in the world. Now, I'm not going to make it like America is perfect. No country is perfect. But if you look at all other countries, we live in the most sheltered country in the world. We are really, what's the word I'm looking for? We are pacified out here. People don't really know what real oppression is. Go look at some of them third world countries. Go look at what true poverty is. Go look at places like Thailand, where they are actually eating local cats and dogs because the government has shut the stores down. Go look at the people who are sleeping in tents and outside on the ground because the government will not provide for them houses and shelters and all these things. Our country is so advanced above every other country. It seems as if the more we get, the more we want. You know, the more the more the more handouts that they give us, the more comfortable that we get. It seems as if the comfortability don't make us realize how good we got it. It seems as if people just want more and more and more and more, man. And Jerome Green, if you could speak to that for a minute, go ahead, bro.
I will agree that America is one of the best countries in the world. I won't go as far as to say that it is the best, but it is one of the best when it comes to you know, freedom to really pretty much say what you want, do what you want, you know, in to a degree, to do what you want, say what you want, you know, stuff like that.
Right.
And with the freedom of speech part, we see from what's being said by the Black Lives Matter organization. And I want to make clear is that I'm not saying that everybody in the Black Lives Matter organization supports some of the things that have been said by chapters or members of the Black Lives Matter organization. But what I'm saying is, for these people to be so you know, liberal minded and you know, wanting to combat oppression, which is warranted to a degree, but you want to combat oppression and you're so for the Black community, but you're tearing up, you know, some of your members are tearing up you know, Black communities and you know, burning down Black businesses, destroying Black businesses. Like that's the polar opposite of what you know, Black groups were doing back in the 50s and the 60s and you know, the even the 20s. Like they weren't even harping on trying to make themselves superior to the white race or the Europeans. They were doing actual community building.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
yep. And like you said, what's going on today is kind of counterproductive in the fight to where we're trying to get to, you know. And keeping it on politics, Sister Monique, I want to know how you feel about Kamala Harris and the things that she promotes.
I mean, for the simple fact that a Black man did her wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like most women, like I said, most Black women, we go through that. Like I said, I understand her situation. Cause you know, most Black women, we at times blank a lot of Black men for one thing the Black man did wrong. But at the same time, she like literally gave innocent guys, you know, 2 terms or life sentencing, and it shouldn't happen. You know, I mean, that's what she did. You know, she prosecuted Black men and she prosecuted like Black guys. You know, I believe in a second chance. Not saying that a murder should get a second chance or a rapist should get a second chance, a pedophile should get a second chance. But me personally, depending on like what the person did, I really do believe in giving the person a second chance and not giving them decades, years in prison, all because of one look that you encountered with a Black man.
I agree with that. And if you can also, how you feel about Joe Biden?
I mean, Joe Biden, like I said, he trying to hide his racial side. You know, he want to look at it like this something the Republican Party push. They racist and they not, you know, they not helping the Blacks, but at the same time, majority of white prosecutors that I know there are lawyers. Some of these guys actually defending the Black man, innocent Black men, because it's no, we're not looking at the thing that this is a racist issue going on. We're looking at someone's life being on the land. We're looking at Black men who are being taken away from their children and taken away from their wives, taken away from their mothers. You got mothers only have one son and he gone because of something he did that he was innocent to. So you do have white prosecutors that are not racist that stand up for these type of guys, but at the same time, Joe Biden pushing her issue because we know that most of the Black people they supporting her because of other things, and he just backing her up. Like for some reason, he just in the way because he not really sure of mass incarceration and getting the black people more time than they did sentences. So he just backing her up on that.
Right, right. And before we get ready to close out, sister, give us your overall spiel on the Democratic Party as a whole.
Well, the thing about it, with my conclusion, since we talking to believers and non-believers of the Bible, it's all boiled down to moral ethics and issues. It's all boiled down to moral ethics. What's
Right.
right, what's wrong, what to do, what not to do. It's common sense. So this for both Christians and non-Christians, believers and non-believers. It's like a moral ethics issue thing. Moral ethics like, okay, this wrong, this not right. It's more than a right and wrong issue, whether you believe in the Bible or not. Moral ethics, whether it's wrong or right, is it to do or is it not to do?
Right. I totally agree with that. Jerome Green, before we close out, man, you want to give any closing remarks? Jerome, you would have. I see you. I see you. Go ahead.
Well, I'll say this when it comes to the election and the political climate that we currently find ourselves in at the moment. What I've learned through listening to both sides and developing an assessment from what I've heard. What I'm going to do in this election, which I know I don't have to publicly say that, but I'm gonna say it anyway. What I plan on doing, and I'm pretty sure that you two are going to do this as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to, when it comes to who I vote for, I'm filtering it through the Bible. Like if I see a politician and his policies are anti-biblical, I'm not voting for him.
Right.
That's plain and simple. I don't care what color they are, or any of that. I care about the policies they're pushing and whether it's biblical or not.
I agree with you on that. I'm doing the same thing. I'm not voting for the face of the party because I think some people get it mistaken. The face of the party is just that they are the face. They have to run on what the party runs on. So me as well, I'm not voting for Trump. I'm not voting for Biden. I'm voting for policies. And when we look at the policies, in my opinion, I feel like what the Democrats are pushing are counterproductive to Black people as a whole. And I feel like what the Republican Party is pushing is going to help us, And if I could take the black and white thing out of it, I feel like what the Democrats are pushing is counterproductive for America as a whole. They want same-sex marriages, same sex to marry each other. And if that happens, our population goes down. If every girl is with a girl and every man is with a man, then how do our population grow? They're pushing Marxism. They're really trying to take away our freedom of speech because, there are certain things you can say that you can't say now. Like, go listen to Eddie Murphy and Red Fox and all these people, comedians and other people from back in the day. They had no filter. They could say whatever they want to say, and it was either funny to you or it wasn't, but people went on about their day. Now, today, it seems as if you can say boo to somebody and, oh, that's racist, and you can lose your job, you can get locked up, you can fall under the category of hate speech, even though you didn't say anything hateful. On top of that, the Democratic Party is also pushing to take our guns away. The Second Amendment says we have the right to bear arms and we have the right to defend ourselves. But when it comes to the Democratic Party, it seems as if, again, they want to take away our guns. They want to take away our freedom of speech. They want to try to push for population control and all these other things. So again, we are not voting for the face of the party. We're voting based off of policy. And like the sister said, if you don't vote on anything else, vote on morality. You know what's wrong. You know what's right. Don't let the mainstream media try to tell you who to vote for based off of who they are telling you these people are. Look up the policies. Look up what each party is pushing and vote your entrance. Because again, we're not telling you who to vote for. We're just telling you to look in to what these people are running on. And Sister Monique, just like Jerome Green, do you have any closing remarks before we close out?
Well, I just want to say, like, both of you guys are right. We're not looking at the race thing or racial issues, the news, the hype that the media pushing out. We just, like you say, basing our votes on the policy holder. And for this, I want to say this for the believers. Our vote should not be attacking the person's character. You know what I'm saying? So I ran into people like, attacking, like I said, they're attacking Donald Trump character. So, there's their reason for not voting for him. But if we look at it, we have to attack a person's character when nobody be qualified for the position
Right,
they're in. Will
right,
nobody be qualified for a position that they're in the eyes of man.
right,
So therefore, we shouldn't attack a person's character. I'm not attacking Biden character because for the simple fact his character is his personal relationship. It has nothing to do with politics. You
right.
see what I'm saying? It had
Yeah,
nothing to do with politics. His character is his personal relationship with God. But at the same time, attacking their characters should not be based on why we not voting for them.
right. Because like the Bible says, he without sin cast the first stone. And there's not one of us on this earth who don't have a background. There's not one of us on this earth who have a perfect life and a perfect past. We all have did, said, and done things that we regret, and that we're sorry for. So like the sister said, you shouldn't be casting your vote based off of a person's character because that characteristic 9 times out of 10 doesn't have a lot to do with the policies that they're pushing. We should look for the policies that they're pushing, and we should make our decision based off of that. So for the listening audience, as we close out, just want to let y'all know that this has been another cross-platform production with Paradigm Shift TV 314 and Trust and Believe the Gospel. I am nobody. Always trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody, and that is Jesus the Christ. That is Jerome, the Conscious Christian Green, my co-host, Mr. Co-host to you. This is our beautiful sister, Monique, aka Love Poem, aka Coffee. And we appreciate you, sister, for coming on the platform today. And we look forward to having more conversations, dialogues, and even debates with you in the future. We appreciate everybody in the listening audience for listening. Y'all like, share, subscribe, and we'll see y'all on the next video.